Hi everyone, so I wanted to show now the basic principles I'm using for painting hydrangea. So with hydrangea it's very interesting. It has looks like 4 petals most of the time, so like I wanted to show like here. So it's almost like a cup, so it's lighter on one side and then it's darker on the other side of the. So if you see when I paint these petals, and plus it has a little bit of lighter tones on outside and a little bit darker on inside. But again, that's only if you want to go in the detail of the petal, but sometimes you don't need to go in every single petal. You can just indicate few and then it will kind of read as it is, for example. And the other thing you have to look for, when you squint, there are lots of dark shadows in between, and I'm using right now a mixture of ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. So when you squint, like the petals that turned to the light, they have more light, and the ones that turned against the light, they have more shadow. That's quite logical. And then there are shadows behind those flowers. So I'm trying to squint and look for those shapes, bigger shapes of shadows and bigger shapes of ducks. And this way I kind of go through the whole form. And again, I'm choosing the most important. For example, this is my central flower, so I'm working on this one. It has combinations, all blues and purples both, and I hope I post photo of this. It's a very interesting flower. I hope you've seen those hydrangeas, and especially like with not too much going on in the garden right now. I'm really happy I bought this hydrangea. So I'm trying to keep more shadow in my darkest part, try not to lose it, and I'm always like squinting and comparing that this shape is kept there. So when I squint and compare, I don't even know if it's a petal or not petal. I'm trying to make very light movements as well of my brush as I go, so they would indicate petals. So I think this brush works for me, and as I go I'm looking for like mid-tones first, and then I start looking at the ones that have more light in them. So I'm looking like petals that have more light, try and indicate a few of those as well. So this way the shape slowly building up, because hydrangea has lots of flowers that, sorry, not flowers, petals that kind of squashed together, and it has lots of ridges. So this is a flower, and if you want you can put the middles of some flowers like I did here, but you don't really have to overdo on those eyes. I think I deliberately put my still life further away from me, so I don't see really that much. This way I focus on the shadows that I only see. So let me try to do another flower so you could see better how I do it. And again, very different approaches, different people, depending on the style you're painting and lots of other things. So this is has lots of purple in it, so I'm trying to paint these purple flowers on this hydrangea at the bottom, but still that purple has some blue in it. actually a very interesting one. It has purple and blue flowers at the same time in it. And the main thing with adding white, also I have the same problem. I sometimes overdo in white and then I'm losing my color, and I don't want to lose my color. Like this flower has lots of shadowy flowers rather than light flowers. It's a little bit at the bottom. So I'm trying to do the shadow first. And it's not that much noticeable, so I don't even have to paint the shadow flowers at all. I can indicate them as mass and then show just some petals. So I'm going with the blue, so I see some blue petals coming through the, but not too much. And I'm kind of undermixing my paint. I like this purpley blue mix. So I'm paint thin with blue. So there is one little middle of the flower here. Like I said, overdoing with white is so easy, so I have to paint over. And then the flowers that are very distinct, like for example I have a big flower here. Try to paint that one as well. Petals, so this one go a little bit down. So now I choose the brightest ones and the lightest ones. I'm trying to lay paint on top of those that I already painted by indicating more light. And sometimes I lose shadows, so I have to indicate those again. And I see some purple on top here, some ridges as well here. Again, I will probably go a little lighter later, but this is just indication of what I see now, because once I have the whole picture I'll start going more into details. And on this video, what else I wanted to show is this flower. So this flower has lots of yellow green flowers in it, same as blue. So what I do, I'll go with this one. So this middle yellow ones, these are the brightest ones around. So I may lose some of them and then I'll go back and forth as I do normally, but at least you'll have an idea how I do hydrangea flowers. So this one all in the shadow, even though it's purple and blue. Don't want to lose that nice shadow, so I'm going back with the same darker color that I used originally, just do a little bit more of thicker paint and then just some indication of ridges on purple, not too much in the shade. Only where I see the light. And like I said, it has more blue, so I'm going to mix a little bit more. And I'm mixing actually ultramarine and alizarin, or ultramarine and white. So the same, nothing changed in my mixture. All the same colors. There is always in between. And I will clean my brush, and I will add a little bit of this light mixture again on top of it. So sometimes you have to be very careful with this because it's mixing, but in these ones actually it's a very good combination of blue and yellow. And this yellow and purple, they're opposite each other on the color wheel. It's quite a good mixture. Maybe too much of that color. And again, I think our eyes going to see the whole flower once you give the indication. And what else I'm doing, I want to show that I cover under the flowers, so this green and blue, oh sorry, green and yellow, green and brown, sorry, when I paint sometimes I lose track of my thoughts. So I'm looking at the flower there and I'm trying to cover around it. So this is a mixture of transparent brown and viridian. These, I don't know if it's seen or not. So there is some indication of leaves under there as well. So the stem would be going that way. And I think some of my petals need to go on top of it still. Yeah. So the same with purple. I may leave some on the painting because sometimes it looks good, kind of transparent. So the same way I'm going to work on other hydrangeas, and the one, like for example here, it's almost yellow. It doesn't have any not that much blue in it. It has a little bit of purple. What I'm going to do, I just do a slight indication of purple there. And again, it doesn't have to be like really distinct flower. We know that it's hydrangea and has some blue because it has to recede. It has to be on the background. So it means it's less saturated color, less contrast, and less detail. I'm just just realized I think my brush is given away. I don't know. So anyway, I will try to make a contrast with some leaves there, but again, it's not a super contrast. Has to be also the edges. The main thing is edges have to be soft too. So I'm using kind of, can't say dirty color, but it is a dirty mix of blue, purple, yellow. Just indicate a flower over there. So this flower, because it's a little bit more distinct to the light and it's on top, I'm going to give more detail and more definition, but not as much as the front flower. So I hope you got an idea of how I'm doing hydrangeas. And again, it's just a flick of the brush and lots of squinting when needed. I forget myself to squint, and I really should squint more. So I'm going to work on this flower and this flower later, and then I'll come back to this one because I still feel I could do something better on it, but I'm not sure yet what should I do with comparison with the other flowers. Maybe I will add here more darker petals as I see. Because I think this one is a really, really dark flower. It will benefit from more dark petals and light petals, and then I'll go and do hitters with more light later on the petals that are very close to the light, like these ones. Something like that I'll do, I think, and maybe some ridges of light as well. Anyway, I think this is another video that give you idea of how I do hydrangeas, because if I do the whole painting it will be too long, and I try to post few videos of hydrangeas, maybe do something on the whole painting, and I'll see which ones you like the most, and let me know what you want me to paint and what to like show more. So I hope you enjoy painting flowers this beautiful spring season, and hopefully we'll get warmer weather soon. So happy painting, everyone.